Welcome to Cinema Crunch Reviews, the podcast where we provide our thoughts and ratings on your favorite movies. I'm your host, Gage, and today in the studio I have Chloey.
Hey, what's up?
And Pat.
What's going on?
Awesome. And today's movie is The Way of the Gun, starring Benicio del Toro, Ryan Phillippe, James Caan, and so many more. The movie was written and directed by Chris McQuarrie, who also did The Usual Suspects, Top Gun Maverick, some of the Mission Impossible movies, and The Mummy. Here's the logline for the film. Two criminal drifters without sympathy get more than they bargained for after kidnapping and holding for ransom the surrogate mother carrying a baby for a powerful, shady man. Stay tuned to the end for our final thoughts and ratings for The Way of the Gun.
I'm the guy you wake up to one night, maybe a year from now, maybe two. And all you'll see is a pillow over your face and you'll hear a pop. Plenty more where I came from.
All right, and Pat, I know this was your pick. I know this is a movie you care a lot about, so super excited to hear you talk about it. Let's hear it.
So, I like one thing that takes me about this movie is I found it by accident. I wasn't looking for it. It just came up on my radar one day about like one of those underrated movies that you probably haven't seen and probably will love. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have high expectations the first time I watched it. I really thought it was going to be like a garbage B movie.
Yeah.
And then
that's kind of what we thought too.
that's what it gives you especially because it's I think it came out in 2000.
Yeah.
So it's very early 2000s. And I was like, man, this has got garbage B movie written all over it, but whatever, screw it, I'll watch it. And then I was thoroughly impressed. Just the storytelling. The action's really good for the time when it came out. The dialogue's really good, the twists and the turns, and it just really blew me away. And then I got super into I wanted to know everything about this movie. And then come to find out, the director, Christopher McQuarrie, was the writer of The Usual Suspects, and this was his first directorial debut.
I saw that. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And then, he went on to do, like you said, big things.
Mission Impossible. He's still running around and doing some crazy stuff.
He's Tom Cruise's pick director to do things.
Yeah, his personal writer.
pretty much. I don't know what's going on there, but he did he did the first Jack Reacher movie with Tom. That's where they met, and then they ended up doing a couple the last 3 or 4 Mission Impossibles has all been his director. He did Top Gun Maverick. Mm-hmm. Trying to remember.
No, he's done a lot, and it's pretty cool to see that he went from doing these what were presumably B movies to now he's doing some of the most expensive movies.
This movie was a very, very indie, did it themselves kind of thing.
But they put the time into it. I really feel it. A lot of the scenes they came across that way. They knew what they were doing.
This was very much I want to say a passion project for him because he wrote it himself. And I don't think, from what I've heard, the research that I've done, and the studio wanted nothing to do with it.
Right.
He did The Usual Suspects, but he didn't direct that. He just wrote the script for that, and they loved it. So once he got the deal, they were kind of all right, we'll give you another picture deal to do whatever you want. And they kind of gave him a hard time about The Way of the Gun because I guess they didn't like it. So he kind of did it himself independently, funded it himself. It was kind of his big FU to the studio
which is pretty cool. And that's probably why that's probably why we didn't see it until.
Well, it didn't get much wide release at the time. That was kind of the thing. The studio was fine, we'll let you do your movie because we gave you a deal, but we're not going to widespread release it,
promote it or anything.
Which makes sense.
It didn't get much promotion. It didn't get much release in the theaters at the time, so it kind of went under the radar. I think what really got this movie was back in the day, the DVD sales, probably going to Blockbuster and just seeing it and being okay, I'll check this movie out, and then people fell in love with it. It's got a really big cult following once you start doing a little deep dive into it.
100%. It is such a cult film. It reminds me of kind of obviously a completely different vibe, but the same thing with Clerks and things like that, where it just got that huge following afterwards. And I don't think it's quite to the level where Clerks was, meaning just following wise, but
not at all.
But it's such a good movie. I totally agree with you. With at the beginning, the
opening scene is
it's a little
it's wild, and that's why I love it because it's very in your face.
Yeah,
and it lets you know. I think that's why I'm very fascinated with this movie because of the choices they made. These are supposed to be the main characters of the movie, and you find out very quickly in the first like minute and a half that these guys are they're dirtbags.
Yeah, they're fucking scumbags.
They are the biggest scumbags.
But then they're not at the end, and that's kind of the journey,
that's
right?
why this movie's very. I think it's a lot deeper than people think it is. Like, there's a lot of decisions. Like you can tell like throughout the whole movie. Like when you first meet these two guys, which you don't even know their names. That's one other thing I like.
They're pissing people off. It's like.
Well, I like the like you don't even know their names. Like they called themselves Parker and Longbow, and that is a nod to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid because that was their last names. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool how like when they're narrating in the movie, like they don't even tell you their real names. But
I saw that the final shootout was also the same final shootout from.
It's very simple. It's very. There's a lot of like
nods
to like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's very I don't know if you are familiar with the director Sam Peckinpah.
Definitely know the name.
So he is the director of The Wild Bunch.
Okay.
The Getaway with Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
Very, very good action. Like for the time back in the '60s, he was just he did action raw, violent, and for the time it was very like whoa, a lot of blood, like very, very violent. And at the time, it was like he got a lot of grief for it.
Okay,
but very inspirational.
I mean, it's the 60s,
it was the '60s, but like very inspirational to a lot of guys. So like you can kind of like get some beats of like he was probably a Peckinpah fan, Butch Cassidy fan, and it shows in the action because it's very real, very raw.
Yeah. Very Western.
Very, very. It's more like that's another thing. It's very like modern Western.
It's a neo-Western.
Yeah, it's like a neo-Western for sure. I love the score with the big drum beats in it. It really sticks with you.
We talked a lot about the camera angles and a lot of the shots.
Cinematography,
a lot of good shots.
Really blew me away because I was the same thing.
Because we weren't expecting it.
No, you weren't expecting it. That's why this movie it draws you in because it's very. Just the dialogue alone, along with the camera shots and the storytelling, because there's a lot of deeper meanings. Like, so the first opening shot is fantastic. Mm-hmm. A nice little cameo by Sarah Silverman.
I know she does such a good job.
Does such a great job.
Oh my gosh!
And she's just it lets you know, like right there from the jump, that these guys are. I mean, just from the second of like what Ryan Felipe says to her, which is very vulgar. I thought it was hysterical. I have a very bad sense of humor. I thought it was great. Usually when I show people that film, they're like,
"Oh my god!"
They're like, "Jesus!"
That's what we did.
They're like, "Oh my Jesus Christ!" It's hard to get there, but like it lets you know, like right then and there, like these guys are scumbags.
Yeah.
I mean, they punched the chick in the face.
Yeah.
It was
I wasn't expecting that.
You weren't expecting that. It was. I mean, it's crazy.
I was pleasantly surprised that they weren't idiots though. Like
that's why I appreciate about this movie so much. They're scumbags, but they're actually very
clever.
Smart.
Like
they're very clever.
When they go to kidnap this girl, and I'm like, how are they gonna fuck this up? Because like they're starting fights, like they're sitting on people's cars, like they're assholes. Like I thought they were gonna mess it up, and then when they start doing like the cues and then like pointing the guns and like not, I was like, this is like,
they're very.
Do they kind of know
what?
Do they actually know what they're doing?
They kind of did, and like that was a big thing I saw because we went through like some of the reviews of it and like just kind of try to gather some thoughts from the YouTube consciousness, I guess.
Yes.
And like surprisingly, a lot of the reviews were like how accurate it is, like military wise.
Yes. So little factoid I found out.
Okay.
The director had his brother be a technical advisor, and apparently his brother was in the military, but I don't remember if they said he was like either in special forces or like an Army Ranger to a certain extent.
Okay.
But he played the technical advisor,
right.
And that's why I like this movie. These guys aren't dumb, and they look like they look like they know what they're doing, and it's not. I mean, it's hard to explain. But they look like they know what they're doing. They know how to handle the guns. They're not idiots with the guns. They when they're going to perform the kidnapping and it's not going their way and they realize, screw it, we just need to abandon it, because they weren't expecting that. They were expecting it to be a simple snatch and grab. Like they're gonna.
They started pointing the guns at the lady and the baby, and they're like, oh wait.
And they realized, oh shit, like this is way more than we bargained for.
Yeah.
We thought this was going to be an easy payday. Let's just cut our losses and get out of here.
Yeah.
And when they're leaving, they're communicating very well with covering each other and making sure that at least one person has eyes on the two of them while they're both trying to get out of there. And it's just crazy how it goes. Like, I mean, the breakdown of this movie, they're so smart. And that's what I like about it. Like, and they were prepared. Like, they thought these guys were just two bozos thinking they were going to get a quick grab. And then you can even you remember the security guard, the one guy, Tay Diggs, which there's a lot. We'll get back to that in a second. There's a lot of
just random like cameos.
Random stars in this movie, like Tay Diggs, the other bodyguard, Nicky Katt.
Yeah,
he's in a lot of movies.
What's his face is Herschel from The Walking Dead.
Scott,
I was like, what?
I believe his name is Scott Wilson.
I think so. Yeah,
he plays he's not a mob boss. I think he works for the cartel or something.
Yeah,
but he's not a good dude.
Yeah, he's like a button guy.
James Caan, one of my favorite actors of all time, and he is so good.
He does really good
in this part.
A lot of the actors in this movie were pretty good.
His other guy, one of his associates, I forget his name. I think it's Jeffrey Lewis. Yeah,
I think so.
Jeffrey Lewis. He's in a lot of good movies. He was in a lot of westerns back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Juliette Lewis is in this movie. Is pretty young. This is an early role for her. I mean, she started popping off in the mid '90s, and this came out in 2000.
Right.
She did really good, but obviously like it's kind of a funny take to have. But like when she was obviously like in the middle of the C-section and she was just screaming at everything.
It's a little annoying. I just thought
it was funny.
It is. It's a little wild.
I thought like the kind of pain that is real. So like
sure.
I think she did a really good job making you believe it because that was crazy.
Yeah.
Although like when somebody like pushed the dresser over and then she started screaming, I was like, okay, girl, like it's not that serious. But I thought she did so good. She really did.
Yeah. Her pregnant walk.
The pregnant walk was all right.
Hilarious.
It
but
was
like
hilarious.
she would
the
have
waddle,
it and then she wouldn't.
Yeah, she had a big waddle going on.
Like she remembered
waddling.
that she was pregnant. It was like, oh right. They just started moving. Oh my god.
There were some great one-liners. Like one-liners that made me just cry.
So this movie's very quotable.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my favorite lines is towards the end when they're deciding what's like a good plan to get this money and get out of here.
The cheese.
Cheese was a good one.
But I love when he goes, I think a plan is just a list of things that don't happen.
Yeah. I thought that was great.
That's a great line.
There was a lot of lines in this movie that Gage is like, that was really good.
Yeah.
That was
like
not Philippi. That was the director or the writers like just great job.
Great job. I love when him and James Caan are in that little coffee shop in Mexico, and James Caan just straight up asks Benicio del Toro, so who's the brains of this operation? And he goes, I don't think this is a brains kind of operation.
Yeah.
So funny.
And it's so true. Like, he's not wrong. I mean, this plan went to shit so quick, and now they're just kind of rolling with the punches. Like, they're here now. Because, I mean, if you go back to the beginning, right, so you find out about these guys, like when Ryan Phillippe is narrating, kind of explaining that, like, they're going off of their beaten path.
Mm-hmm.
So you assume that, like, I guess it's some, and I like that they leave a lot up to you to figure out. Like, you don't know what these guys are. You don't know if they're ex-military, if they're just lowlifes in general. Like, you don't know where they come from. They have they're very
ambiguous past that works for the movie.
But you find out that, like, they were on a path and they decided they stepped off the beaten path. Now they do what they want. They take what they can get, small scores here, get money here, and then they just go from wherever. I mean, they just roam around and do whatever they want, essentially.
The other line that I think like encapsulate that perfectly is when he was on the phone with him on the payphone. Yeah, we were just talking about this, and James Caan's giving him a hard time, and he's just like, "Yeah, well, we're new at this," and then hangs
and then just hangs up the phone. And that's a thing. Like they know what they are.
It felt real. Like they did a good job. Like really.
Like
expressing.
they don't try to act above their means. They don't try to act like bigger players than they really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're new at this. Hang up the phone.
It almost kind of felt like a spiritual predecessor for No Country for Old Men. Like, obviously, they're two completely different movies, have different, but like that neo-Western theme.
Very
and
neo-Western, this movie. I mean,
and
the score helps out a lot with that. Those deep drums, it really does play into it very well. But it's so funny how they just walk into this by accident. I mean, their car breaks down in the beginning of the movie, and they're looking for money, and they travel light. They talk about how they just take what you can carry, don't have a lot of possessions, and they're like, okay, we need money. So they go donate sperm.
Yeah. That scene was crazy too.
That's a great. But see that scene. If you just take it in for a second, it seems like just like vulgar language and it's a little wild. But there's a lot going on there.
Right.
That's one. Like the writing in this film is very, very smart.
Yeah.
So it is a little crazy, and it's a product of its time. They
For
were
sure.
dropping a lot of hard words.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's I thought that they were setting it up because like they used a certain term quite a few times, and I thought they were setting it up for those two to be like gay together. I thought that's what they were setting up.
I could see how you could get that, but it's really about people really don't say, like, when they ask you something, they're not getting to the point.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's what he was getting at.
Yeah.
So like,
No,
when the man was asking him just arbitrary questions, like, I don't even remember all the questions, but what the main question was, he asked if he was a homosexual.
He asked if he was
heterosexual.
heterosexual.
That's what it was. He asked if he was a heterosexual man. So
he's like, "What do you call me, gay?"
But what he
pretty
really
much,
wants to know,
he really wants to know.
He's gay.
He really wants to know if he's gay.
Yeah.
So Ryan Philippe goes on a whole tangent, calling him asking him. He says, like, instead of that, he just says, "Why don't you ask me if I'm an F word?"
Yeah.
Just come out and say it.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and beat around the bush. Ask me one question when you really want to know the other. What you really want is another answer.
Yeah.
Well, and then when he did that, me and Gage looking at each other like, oh, he's gay. Like, oh, okay. Like, they're setting this up where it's like, oh, they ask him if he's heterosexual, and he's like,
you think he
that's
takes
relevant.
Offense? Yeah, he takes offense
so
to
we
it.
were like, oh, okay, this is gonna be his big thing. And then, like, I think one of the first scenes of like them driving together, Gage is like, You think they're gay together? I was like, maybe. I don't know.
Because you're totally right. Like, that's really what the scene is about. But like because it's kind of back to back the intro with all of the vulgarity, and then right into that, and I was like, oh, maybe they are setting up to be that they're like together. But then it's very much like a brother situation.
But that scene in the end,
really
they're partners.
Yeah. But like that scene in the end where he's explaining, when he like first was about to kill somebody, and then he realized, oh, like this guy's a person. When that guy, he's like, oh, that guy on the bed, and he like started praying before I killed him. Yeah, and he was like, how he can't wait to ruin this guy's life. Like, maybe the other guy's better. And then I don't know. It just felt very. They're
looking for redemption. They wonder that they've done so much bad shit. They wonder when it comes their time and they have to go before God, are they going to have any good answers?
Yeah.
And the other guy's like, no.
Yeah, his response to that is so great. Yeah. Because Ryan's giving it his all and saying, like, are you going to have anything to say for yourself when you're kneeled down before God? And they take a nice pause, and Benicio del Toro just looks and goes, I'm going to tell God I was framed. And that's just so on par.
A lot of his lines were they were
Benicio
so
del
good.
Toro is so good in this movie. It's honestly it's probably my favorite Benicio del Toro performance. Probably this and Sicario, but that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother day. But like, this is... I think he knocked it out. He played this scumbag so well.
He did really good.
But he was also cool.
Oh, like, very cool.
It's so hard.
Very cool.
It's so hard to find the films where it's like they want the cool bad guy, but like he doesn't give douche. You know what I mean?
No, he just doesn't give a fuck. You can tell he's so.
When he wants to watch the video and he's the cigarette and he's giving the girl behind his thing, she's like, "Oh my god, what?" And he's
that
like,
scene of him
so
stealing
good.
stuff in the convenience store is so.
And then looking at her, and then
people
eating
could
it,
people could see it's like a dumb scene. Pointless, but it's more like character building. Like, that's just his character. That's
who he is.
Because he's gone in and done that a million times.
Who he is.
Looking
at one thing, putting something in his pocket,
making eye contact
with her. It's just so.
It was good.
It's a weird scene, but it's so good because it's on par with his character. And then he's looking at the computer screen, holding his one eye.
Yeah.
It's very, very funny.
He did a good job.
The other line he had that was hilarious, which was like just again him cutting through the like seriousness of it, was when they were in the motel room, and Juliette Lewis is making him hold her belly, and then he goes over and he's like, you don't want him to hold it, and then she puts his hand on it, and he pushes away. He goes, you're weird.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, he goes, that's creepy.
That's creepy.
Because I mean, that scene, man, that's another great scene because there's a lot going on there. They're not just sitting there playing cards.
Mm-hmm.
They're connecting.
They're really talking about what are they going to do next now.
Yeah, like what's like when they're talking about the rules of Queens.
Yeah, they're talking.
That was a really good scene.
They're pretty much talking around like, what are we going to do here? Because like she's on the bed thinking, what's going to happen now? Because they're thinking that the doctor's going to have to come.
Induce labor.
And induce this labor. Yeah. So like she's thinking about her options out of here. I mean, she wants to make out alive, and they're thinking, what do we do? Do we just cut tail and run? Just cut our losses and get out of here? It's not worth the fucking headache.
Because they're connecting to her a little bit.
They are a little bit, and that's another thing that comes into play. Is you're seeing throughout this whole time that they're together with her, you're seeing Benicio plays it cool the whole time.
Yeah.
He's straightforward. He knows what the objective is to get this money. He really doesn't give two shits about her. He's just thinking about how can we get this to get her money. Ryan, on the other hand, is starting to slip a little bit.
Yeah.
They share a scene where he gives her half of his sandwich.
He like wasn't happy about it.
Was not happy
but
about
then
it.
he did
And
it.
she's like, I love bacon. He's like, it's from a gas station. It's still bacon. It's still good.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever. But like, he's giving her water, giving her half of his sandwich. Benicio has that meeting with James Caan, and that's another really great scene between the two of them breaking down
At the motel.
at the motel,
Like the bar,
at the
yeah.
bar. They have a really great conversation. And meanwhile, him and Ryan and Juliette Lewis are breaking, like they're bonding a little bit. When he comes back, they're playing Queens. She's wearing his shirt, and he's kind of seeing his partner starting to slip a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why he comes in and does the whole card talk because he's like, "What are you doing?"
And then they're like weighing out their options. Do we just kill her and run, or just let her go and run and just say screw it, or we try to get all the money and kill everybody and take all the money?
Well, and that's the scene when we learn that the baby is hers, and
yes, it's
not,
actually hers. It's
yeah.
not. So that's a whole nother. There's a lot of twists and turns and backstabbing going on, which it does get a little crazy to try to follow. Because, like for me, like you have the first half of the film is very, very energetic, lot going on. You're trying to keep up, but you can still understand. And then it starts to bog down a little bit. Once they get to the motel, stuff starts to bog down after they have the first meeting with the doctor. Because then he has to go back, tell Scott Wilson that it's not looking good. She needs to have this baby.
Right.
They're trying to weigh out their options. And then you find out that he's actually, the doctor is the son of Scott Wilson. And something went down years ago.
But we don't know what it
We don't know what
is.
went down. And he, I guess, had to clean it up. So he's kind of like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like he's
trying to figure out that relationship.
And then you find out earlier that the wife that he is with, that younger woman, the blonde, I don't remember her name off the top of my head.
I can't either.
I thought she did
Mrs.
really good
Chipwick
too.
or whatever.
Yeah, Mrs. Chittick.
She played
Chittick.
weird so well.
She did. And like, she could have a child, but just doesn't feel bothered to have her own child. That's why they're paying Juliette Lewis $1 million to have their baby.
Her just laying on the couch and eating
that
shrimp
shrimp
like that. I was
so-
like, get
That
out
I
of
thought was
here.
hilarious because that's what you can't have when you're pregnant, seafood. And I was like,
She's like,
that's
well, I'm not
so
going to give
funny.
this up.
Yeah, I'm not going to give this
Okay.
up.
So ridiculous.
And then you find out that she's sleeping with Taye Diggs.
Yeah.
And that's just there's a lot of backstab. And then the bodyguards have like, well, maybe we have our own plan.
Maybe we take the money.
Take the money or just kill them all and come back with just the baby and say that it went well. They just kill everybody and say, yeah, everything went to plan. Here's your baby. The girl didn't make it, by the way, and the guys went off with the money, and we keep the money. Like, there's a lot of twists and turns, so it does get a little bit hard to keep up with, like, who's doing what. All right, the bodyguards are having their own plan, and meanwhile, he's sleeping with the boss's wife, so they got their own agenda, and the doctor's he's got the baby's really the doctor's, and he's trying to keep that from him, and they want to keep the baby.
So
and
many
when they were talking about, okay, like who's gonna go in, like who's gonna do the swap, and they were talking to the older guy, the bag man, and they're like, I need somebody who has no attachment to this. And me and Gage are like,
why does he have attachment?
Like that hasn't been like, has that been established? Like, are we not paying attention?
It's this is definitely a movie that you kind of have to watch more than once.
Yeah, I did think that too.
So I've
when
watched
we were
this
done.
movie probably close to like 6 or 7 times.
Okay.
And every time I watch it,
You find something new?
you find something different. You're picking up more and more, and like stuff I thought was one thing turned out to be something totally different. Like I misinterpreted it the first time I watched it, and then like the next time I watched it, I'm like, oh,
That's great.
now it's starting to make sense. Now you find out that actually Juliette Lewis is James Caan's daughter, and she's just doing this to help set him up, because now he's an old man. Now he's been this bag man working for these people, and he never set himself up. He never thought he'd see the end of the road, and now he's getting close to the end of the road, and he never set himself up. And his daughter's trying to help him by having this baby, and getting this $1 million is going to set him up for retirement.
It's
essentially,
it's a little sad. Yeah,
it is a little sad, and there's a lot of deep like things I didn't realize the first couple times watching this movie. Like I was saying, so like you have James Caan, he's a bag man. He's been doing this for a long, long time, and you see like Benicio del Toro talk to him. Oh, I was a bag man once.
Yeah.
I used to be like you, and then I walked away. So you could see that James Caan, like Benicio del Toro, saw what he was going to end up.
Yeah,
And that's why he walked away. He would end up like James Caan. Look at him being an old man, still doing this stuff.
Yeah.
So he walked away. James Caan never did. And then you see his other guy, the guy Jeffrey Lewis.
Oh my gosh, the guy who was sitting in the house.
He's in the same boat as James Caan. They're at the end of the road. They don't know what to do with themselves.
He was just playing Russian roulette by himself.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite Russian roulette scenes ever, when he just has all of the revolvers.
He has them in a circle.
Sitting them in the circle, loads them, spins them, throws them in a pillowcase, and just spins them around. It was a very, very creative way to have Russian roulette. And he's sitting there, and the phone's ringing, and he's looking with the gun to his head, and he's like, I'm probably not going to answer it.
He just does not care. And he circles them all up like that. I was like, is he having friends over? Like, like when is the Russian roulette going to happen?
He's just trying to make his chances a little bit better.
Just so crazy.
It was so good.
And then that scene when he's dying, it's so funny. Like it's like it's not funny on purpose. It's just like it's awkward. Like he's almost happy he's dying. Like he got shot, which is we'll break down that scene, which is another really good scene in this. But there's a lot of great like chunks in this movie.
Yeah, there are.
And he ends up getting shot. And he's in the car, and he followed everybody to they ended up in a whorehouse in Mexico to have this baby, and he followed him there. They don't know he followed him there, so he knows where they're at because the bodyguards took Juliette Lewis
where they were not supposed to take her.
They're gonna because their plan is to have this baby, kill her, take the baby, take the money and run essentially.
Well, the one bodyguard, the other one was getting tortured.
That is now.
What was it? What's the
with the ratchet strap?
The ratchet straps.
One of my favorite torture
with the barbed wire too. I was like, that's creative.
That's honestly, it's another thing. Like this movie's so it's not just like a genuine. They don't want to have him tied to a chair, gonna beat the shit out of him. Where are they going? No, they have this dude strung up with barbed wire with a ratchet strap, and I think it's just such a great torture scene because you don't see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You see just enough.
You see just enough. And they're just so blunt. Like, they're not like...
I'm going to pour gasoline in your eyes to keep you awake.
Yeah.
I said, damn, what
are we
doing?
I love how you just hear Benicio del Toro...
ratcheting it back.
Like, that's more eerie than hearing anything else. You just hear him cranking on that
Because it was also
thing.
like sun... It looked like the sun had, like, just gone down, and it's, like, his silhouette.
Well, the sun's just about rising.
Yeah.
Because the scene before that was at nighttime. So the
right,
because
it was in the morning. So he's like, it's like his dark silhouette, and he's cranking
that thing. And you hear him
scream,
and he did such a good job with that scream. And he's like, first we're going to... I forget what he said.
Like slit your eyeballs.
You're like, first,
first we're gonna pull your fingernails out one by one.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna cut your eyelids and pour gasoline on them to keep you from passing out.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And that's the same guy who, like, in theory, a few hours earlier was playing Hearts.
Yeah, he had his hand on the little belly.
I gotta say, this was a big step away from Ryan Felipe's usual roles. Mm-hmm. Before this, he was in like I Know What You Did Last Summer, Studio 54. Like he was in like the teenage.
Well, he's cute. I said that to Gage.
He was in like that, like teenage heartthrob roles.
Yeah.
This was like his first step away from that. Like
I think that's why I had so much fun with it.
He chewed up the scenery in this movie. I think he did phenomenal. Really, it was such a step away from what he was usually doing. I think he was trying to break that cycle of being typecasted.
For sure.
And boy, was this the role to do it.
Yeah.
Because he was very, very...
He really did.
He did really good.
Yeah, very, very well.
They all did, honestly. We were watching and I was like, oh, maybe that's going to be the best actor in this. Because my expectations were so low going into it. And then they just kept, I was like, oh, actually, she's pretty good. Oh, actually, he's pretty good. I thought the doctor did a really good job.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's one of my favorite scenes is when they're in the whorehouse and a shootout's starting to happen. They're trying to get to Juliette Lewis and the doctor ends up killing Taye Diggs.
Yeah, that was
shoots him in the neck, which was crazy. It was one of the craziest
Crazy.
scenes of getting shot in the neck because it was kind of just real. Like wasn't like over the top. He wasn't squirting blood and screaming.
He was blinking for a long time.
He was just dying, like holding
out.
his throat and just bleeding out, and just that look. I got to give it to Taye Diggs. That was a really believable death scene. Just a blank stare, blinking and breathing real heavy, and then just dying.
But then the doctor, like, literally had to be shaken awake because he was just so in
he grabs
shock.
him by the cut on his eye, and it's like he's like waving in front of him, and he's like,
is the
"Get back
baby,
in,
Doc?"
yeah. How is the baby?" And he's like, "Snap out of it,
so
Doc.
good.
Get back in here."
And I
was so
think
good.
that scene is another great way to summarize, like, maybe not the main theme of the movie, but a big thing that I saw and that was confirmed in like some of the reviews we saw after was style stopped by reality.
Yes.
There was so much of like the real cool action scene, something that you'd see in something like Kingsman or a Tarantino movie where it's like
very, very reminds me, very Tarantino-esque with the dialogue and twists and the turns and the violence.
Yeah.
The scene where he's jumping into the fountain, it's like the cool gun jumping into the fountain, but then it's just immediately
stopped by reality.
Stop right by reality.
Of course, there's a billion beer bottles
broken
thrown
beer
in
bottles.
there.
That's
it's
one
Mexico
of my favorite.
and it's a fountain in the middle of a brothel.
Yeah,
it makes
there's
sense.
no
there's
water.
gonna be
It's all
bottles in it.
sand and broken beer bottles. Like that's a great scene. That's why I love this movie because it's like
And he did so well.
They give you the stylized action, and then it's like, yeah, the guy jumps through the air over something and then lands real cool. No, lands on a pile of broken glass and gets gruesome shards.
And he was feeling it.
Oh, when he pulled that, when he pulled, I mean, some people say it's a little over the top. I don't think so because if I got
glass out of your arm like that, you're gonna be shaken.
Yeah. He almost threw gags. He's all, like, it's crazy. It's it's very very like douse of realism in this. Not glamorous, but like it's very stylized, very stylized shootout, and then boom, you get hit with a dose of realism.
And you know what? It was such a good scene. We loved all of the gunplay and things like that, but it was just so funny when the bagman brings out all his other bagman friends, and they're all old.
The old man brigade.
Gage, we're watching them come in, and we're like, "That's the old man brigade." I can't believe he brought them.
A lot of slacks and slippers with no laces.
The loafers.
He
shoots the guy in the shoe, and he's wearing a pair of loafers.
Loafers and slacks.
Like, let me wear my Sunday best.
The Mexican brothel. He's wearing his loafers. We just thought that was so funny.
It is.
And that's the reality part, right?
Yeah.
Like that's probably what those guys
of course, all his friends are old because they're all just doing what he's doing.
Yeah, they're a bunch of old bagmen.
Yeah.
Those are all his associates, guys that he has in the business
that just haven't died yet.
Yeah.
They all lost that day.
So funny.
That final shootout is a really, really good
One of my
shootout.
favorite final shootouts in a lot of movies because it's very like again very stylized but also very real.
Mm-hmm.
Like when guys get shot, they're hurt. Like when Benicio del Toro gets shot in the arm, he doesn't use that arm for the rest of the shootout. He's shooting one-handed, having to reload his gun one-handed.
In between his legs.
His legs, like that's real stuff right there.
I really like that scene where Del Toro is like behind the pole and the other guy is like, asking, are you still okay? Like, are you out there? Like, are you good? And he's just like, he's answering, but not loud enough because he can't.
Well, he doesn't want to give away his position.
Yep.
Right.
He knows, he wants to tell his partner, yes, I'm still with you. I'm still in the fight, but I don't want to give away my position because right now they don't know where I'm at. So he ends up giving in and because at first he's like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still with you.
Yeah.
And he knows he can't hear him. So then he just says, okay, yeah. And then as soon as he says it, boom, gets shot at.
You see James Caan like poking out in the back and like that. Just to bring it back to the cinematography, there's a few shots like that are really great. Like that are really like engaging and like it's a static shot, but you see other things happening in the back. It's the same one where they're in the house and they're I don't want to say bodyguards, but the bodyguards are doing that plan where they're like, oh, we could take the one, we could do whatever, right? They're figuring it out. And then you see the wife going up the stairs and like hearing it.
It's a good shot, yeah, because it's like
it's wild.
They're in the same shot, but it's like they're separated. They don't know that she's right there listening.
Yeah, there's a lot of great cinematography.
And Nicky Cat has a great line.
Better than expected, honestly.
100%.
I had low expectations when
that's the best way to go into this movie is you have
really did.
Like that's why I don't like when I tell people to watch this movie, I don't want to tell them a lot about it because I don't want to get their expectations up and then they'd be disappointed.
I'm just so happy I stuck with it. Like I mentally turn off a lot when he puts on movies and it's like, this is not a movie for me. Like I don't want to do it. But then I don't know, like there would be a camera angle. It would, or like a line of dialogue. Yeah. And I'm like, oh.
Dialogue's very sharp.
Wait a minute. So is this movie better than
one thing about the camera shots is the one thing I really appreciate about their direction and is during most of like the shootout shot, especially the final shootout, you're not lost.
Yeah.
You're aware of where everything's at. Like they kind of give you like even like before it happens, like they're giving you shots of okay, this is the opening. This is like the courtyard.
Yeah.
There's the fountain. It's like a big square. Here are the pillars. Like sometimes in these action scenes, you kind of get lost in some of these movies where
because there's just so many cuts.
There's so many cuts. You're not sure like where certain people are now. Like you kind of lost track. All right, well, he was there last time, and now I lost him, and I don't know where he's at now. And then throughout this whole shootout, you kind of know where everybody's at. You're able to track everything pretty well.
The geography of the scene.
Yeah, the geography of the scene,
in your
and
head
like
is
you're not
clear.
lost, and you're not wondering like, oh wait, where did he come from? I didn't know he was over there. I really appreciated that.
Yeah,
because sometimes it gets a little crazy when there's a lot of fast cuts and.
I mean, they gave you a good amount of time to absorb the area even before the shootout started.
Yes,
they showed you a lot of the hallways. They showed you the fountain. Like I think
you're in the brothel for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
like
the last like half hour of the movie.
The scene building is pretty good.
No, it was Yeah. I think that all kind of goes into one great recipe for that final shootout.
And I like that they stay with the character development. So like throughout the whole movie, you know that these guys are scumbags. And then like there's that great scene at the motel where you can, like we were talking about, you can tell that like Ryan's starting to kind of have sympathy for this woman.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking outside, him and Benicio, about what do we do now? Like, do we just take it and
let's just leave?
Like,
yeah,
let's just
let's
leave.
just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that Benicio's like, my man's slipping. I got to give him a little bit of snap back into reality.
Yeah.
And then
He's like, yeah, screw it. Let's just leave.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just get out of here and cut our losses. What do we do with the girl? Let's just go.
They're like, we know that somebody's watching her. We've seen someone watching
They're like,
her.
the guy's right behind the shed. He's been watching her this whole time. He'll probably come and get her as soon as we leave. And he's like, okay, you mind getting my jacket? I left it inside. And he's like, yeah, sure. And then as soon as he goes to the door, Benicio grabs him and throws him to the side. Boom, she showed the shotgun blast right through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of wakes him up. Like, let's get back in it, dude.
Yeah. Because Benicio saw her moving
Exactly.
across
Like
the
he
room
knew
earlier on.
It's kind of messed up because it could have went wrong. He could have let his partner get blown away, but he kind of was just giving him that shot back and like, you back with it now? What
Like,
we doing
it's
here?
great you realize that she's a person, but guess what? She's also her own person fighting for herself.
Yeah.
You almost just got killed.
Yeah. Reminder: we kidnapped this woman for money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's get back in it. And
She would have
her-
blown you away.
Yeah, and then and then right after that, because you see that Ryan has his back to the building, and he sees that Benicio's jacket was on the van door this whole time. So he knew that he was a setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave him like, okay, yeah, no, I needed that. Thank you. I needed to get smacked back into what we were really doing here.
And then towards the end, when Del Toro has the moment of, oh damn, like he sees her belly open because they're doing a C-section, and he's sitting down, and his partner's like, come on, like let's get in this. Are you ready? And he was like, she's had enough.
Yeah.
She's had enough. And then
and
then they decide
they're
to
still
leave.
scumbags. They're still going to go for the big bags of money at the
For
end,
sure.
which I do like.
And I
That
mean-
they stayed with like.
And they got back. They
I
didn't
mean,
get it.
I really appreciated that. Like they stuck to that. Like they weren't there to just protect Juliet. Like they didn't have like this big come to Jesus moment. Like we're gonna kill these guys to protect her and her baby. They were like, no, she's gonna have this baby. That's enough now. Let's just go get this money and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
The money is here.
Yeah,
It's within our grasp. Like she's literally belly open on this bed. Let's just go get the money.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
Oh, it was so good. I did really like it.
How are we feeling?
Good.
Keep going?
Chilling.
You got more stuff? Go for
Yeah.
it. Oh, I don't care about time.
No, I'm looking at my notes.
Oh.
Yeah,
'Cause
pull that bitch up.
I wrote
You know
down
what?
things to talk about.
I really need to do, next time we do this, I need to have my own little like notebook and write Bagman and then the name, because I never
lost with
remember.
the
I
names?
never remember
Yeah.
the names.
What, his name in the movie?
Well, either.
Where is
Like
that?
I
Where
just
is-
don't. I guess I
So
don't
the
make it a
Bagman
point.
is the very famous actor James Caan, who is no longer with us. Rest in peace.
Very
He
sad.
was amazing. He's been in a lot of great movies, such as he was in the first Godfather.
He was Sonny.
He was Sonny in The Godfather. He's in one of my favorite movies that I'd love to talk about, which was one of Michael Mann's first movies, Thief.
Dude. So Thief and Heat.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were gonna do Heat. I was like, oh, we should.
I
definitely
could
do
talk about
one day.
Heat for a while. Thief, I think now that it's weird because like for the longest time Heat's been one of my favorite Michael Mann movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
So much to unpack there, but Thief to me is like his masterpiece.
Okay. I haven't seen Thief yet.
Really?
Yeah, I wanna watch it.
Talk about from Michael Mann's shots, like with the rainy streets of Chicago, like he made that cool.
Yeah.
Not many people were wetting this. Like he would have water trucks come onto the set and
That's
just
sick.
constantly soak the street, even though it's not raining.
Yeah.
But the streets were always soaking wet from the water, and it reflected the lights of the city so well.
That's sick.
That it made that very like. I mean,
He said, "What that shit for me?"
I've heard Quentin Tarantino talk about it, like because he's such a cinema freak. He was like, yeah, when Michael Mann did that with Thief, like, everybody wanted to get water trucks and wet the streets just to get these cool shots of the city streets because the way the light reflects is so good.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it first.
Yeah.
But James Caan is so phenomenal. He plays this part in The Way of the Gun so well as this bag man. He's like a hardened. I mean, he's kind of like. I mean, they call him a bag man, but he's also like the fix-it man for this guy. It's Scott
sure.
Wilson's character. He has that great scene when he goes to pick up the bodyguards out of jail after the kidnapping attempt, and he's talking to them like, "All right, who fucked this up?"
Yeah.
Which like, whose screw up is this?
Yeah, because he's probably done this.
Yeah, and they're like, well, who are
times.
you? What are you, a lawyer? And he's like, do I look like a fucking lawyer?
Yeah.
He's like,
So
I'm the
funny.
guy that fixes Mr. Kiddick's problems and
The
he doesn't need to know
bullying.
about it. Like,
yeah,
he's
the
so,
bullying they did between each other for that was so funny.
You just did the face so well, by the way.
He's so I'm obsessed with James Caan. I think he is. This role was really good for him. I think he just was so good at it. And like Thief is one of my favorites. He was just unbelievable, but he plays it so well. He's so like grizzled and just hardcore. Like just has a no care attitude.
I think he probably really believed in his script.
Oh, he had to, because this was very independent. Like, I mean, like the people that are in it at the time weren't like big stars, but they were like going to be big stars.
Right. So they took it seriously.
They're either on the down or the up.
I mean, Benicio del Toro, he's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's
a
great.
phenomenal actor.
The last thing I saw him in was not the last Wes Anderson, but the one before it. The one where it's like the 7 stories, like in Paris. I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why I like Benicio. He does a lot. He's not some like a typecast kind of guy.
Yeah,
like
he'll
he
do
does
whatever.
all kinds of roles.
What else did the big businessman father do? Because his face was so familiar.
So he was in The Walking Dead. He played Herschel,
Yeah.
the old man on the farm.
Yeah.
Right.
He's also been in a lot of movies. He was in an unknown movie that I'm actually a fan of that came out in the 80s called Johnny Handsome.
Oh.
Okay.
That's a Mickey Rourke movie.
Okay.
He was in that.
He just had
He's
that
got
face.
that. He's got that face. No, he's been in like
Right.
I was honestly, because the first time I ever heard of him was obviously because we grew up watching The Walking Dead. That was the first time
Yeah.
I ever seen him, and
Yeah.
then now
He's got
you
the
see
eyes
him
all
in-
around.
Yeah.
you see him all around. He's been in a lot of good movies.
Character actor.
Yes, exactly, very much a character actor. I go to the same with Nicky Cat. He's very much a character actor. I've seen him in a ton of movies.
Yeah, everyone was just like it was kind of like a who's who of, like I said, either going up or maybe not coming down in their career, but like not necessarily at the height.
They
anymore.
weren't at their height yet, but like
Yeah.
that's why I like it, because like a lot of these characters, like these, like Taye Diggs. The first time I saw Taye Diggs was in Malibu's Most Wanted. I mean, he's a very much like a comedic actor
Yeah.
to an extent, and then to see him play this bodyguard, so
It was a serious
Serious.
role.
it was serious. I mean, he was
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah.
And he I mean, just the way he's planning around stuff and just doesn't give a
He
shit
said,
about.
"We only care about the baby."
Yeah, we only care about he didn't give a shit about Julia Lewis's character whatsoever.
No.
Speaking of Taye Diggs and the baby, at the end of the movie,
A little plot twist.
Oh.
do you think that's his baby?
Oh well, 100%.
100%.
100%.
She was just like, "Yeah, well, we can have a baby." I'm like, "Yeah, there's no way that she's having a baby with anybody else."
The scene when they're in the room and they're about to give the C-section to her, and he gets close to Julia Lewis and just looks at her in pain and goes,
Yeah.
"Are you ready, Robin?
He's like, "Are you
Yeah.
comfortable?"
Yeah, you comfortable? We're gonna take out your baby."
No,
Like,
literally. And
very
she started screaming.
sinister.
I said, "Oh my
so
god."
sinister.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm not used to seeing that side of him.
No, and I think he was giving his line really well because his character was tired. His character was like, "I just want to get this shit done. Like, I
Yeah.
can't believe we're at a third location. I've lost my partner. Like,
That was
I'm
another-
ready."
man. So like, okay, so just for me, because like that's one thing I love about this movie. Like we keep talking about is just the realism with the action and the gunplay. It's so real. That was one thing that blew me away the first time I watched it, because I'm not used to movies from like the early. I mean, this is pre, John Wick, before like movies really started getting serious with their gunplay.
Actually
Be more-
counting bullets.
Yeah, counting bullets, actually holding guns properly, seeing like that's another great thing that the director does. Like when shots are fired, you see impacts. Like you're seeing where the bullets are actually
Yeah.
going, and it makes sense. In that scene when they're at the motel, and Juliette Lewis has the shotgun in the hotel room, blows the hole in the door, and she calls
I
the
love that
cops.
scene.
And they just get in the van and leave. And you think, oh, they're just like, screw it.
They're done.
They're done. They leave. Then here comes the old man. Jeffrey Lewis comes out from behind to come get her. The cops show up, and then here come the two bodies. Like
There's
it all
like
happens
5
all
points
at
of
once.
access, and
Like,
she has no idea where to
yeah,
go.
she's just standing in the middle of the street. The cops are like, "What the hell's going on here?" The other bag man is like, "Come with me, let's go." I talk like not saying he talked to her dad, but like he's like that's what
He's
and
like,
James
"Don't get in
Caan
that
had
car
had
with
an
them."
agreement. Like,
Yeah.
if you can get her the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Don't let her go to those bodyguards.
Yeah.
And the bodyguards are like, "Come on, Robin, you get the hell over." The doctor's trying to get her to go with the bodyguards.
Yeah.
And then the cops are like trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and this is all taking place in Mexico, and they're trying to speak Spanish to the cops, and they just don't give a flying
It's
shit.
chaotic, but it's very real chaotic.
And I love that when you find out that they drove away and are up on a ridge of some sort,
Yeah.
and the way the gunshots sound that's real.
Yeah.
You hear the whiz before the crack when
Yeah.
when a gun gets shot from long range. That's what you hear first. You don't hear the loud bang first. You hear that whiz, bullet going by, and then you hear the pop. And to me, that blew me away that they got that right.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, that doesn't happen.
I mean, for a movie that doesn't have a huge budget.
Exactly.
Too.
Like you're working with like this independent style movie. Like the way they got things right like that really tells that they cared.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but still made the movie even better. Like that seems very high tension because now they're starting to shoot at them. They kill the cop, and and Benicio's shooting at Robin, trying to get her to not move. And Ryan's yelling at him, "Hey man, be careful! You're gonna hit her."
If I want to miss, I'm going to miss. If I want to hit her, I'm going to hit her.
Yeah. That's pretty badass.
That's pretty badass.
Everything he said, and I think
Benicio's got so many good lines in this movie.
And he wasn't a talker, so I think
when he speaks,
it was impactful.
It's very impactful. I mean,
that's weird.
Yeah. I mean, he said that's creepy.
It was so funny.
You don't want guys like us touching your baby. That was like really cool.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's cute. We're playing cards, and he got his shirt on, but we were ready to kill you 20 minutes ago. So.
And by the way, you're going to try and kill us in about 2 minutes.
No,
that's another great when the kidnapping scene, the slow car chase.
I thought that was
talk about creative
and
entertaining at the same time. Like
I was like, because I was like, okay, that was a really good scene we just watched of them actually knowing what they were doing, and then they're doing a slow car roll, and I was like, okay, what's the plan?
They were literally ghost riding the whip.
They did it twice.
But it worked, and it was so smart. But
Yeah.
we can get back to that in a second. But I love when like they're in the car and they finally get away, and they're trying to tie her up. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't want to see your faces. I don't want to see your faces. And he just looks at her in the mirror and goes, it doesn't matter now.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Like, it's too late now.
It's too late now. We're in this now. It doesn't matter.
I did really like that when in the second little slow drive that they did to kind of lose them, when they hit the car, she was out of it. They took her out of the car.
Again, very, very smart. That's why I love these two characters are two of my favorite characters in cinema history.
I mean,
they're not idiots. They're bad people. You shouldn't like them. They're horrible people. They've done some morbid shit.
I like them a lot by the end of the movie, and I think that they just did a really good job.
But they're very, very, very smart. They're not dumb idiots.
That's why they're smart, because they've done all that, right?
Yeah.
You know, James Caan said the line about "I'm a survivor. That's why I've made it this long."
Yeah.
Same thing to them.
Yeah, he has that great line about like, why do you think like if you see someone my age doing this, how do you think we got here? Because we're survivors. We do what we got to do.
And it's the same kind of deal for the two guys, for our main two guys, right? They're survivors. They've done, whether together or separately, this kind of thing their whole life. So now they're able to do the crazy tricks and things to get out of those situations. And that's,
they outsmart these bodyguards
because
they're supposed to be these high dollar expensive bodyguards.
Yeah.
They got outwitted by these two guys who they're like, who are these two idiots? They're dumb enough. They're dumb enough. They don't even know whose baby they stole.
Yeah.
They don't know that the guy who's paying the $1 million is connected.
Like the shadiest person.
Yeah, he's like, I guess I don't know. They never really touch upon it. Like, so I don't think I think it's like money, having to do with money for the cartel or something.
It sounded like he was like a fixer for the cartel. So like he was kind of like their American contact.
Maybe like a money launderer of some sort,
Yeah,
something like
that. I think
that.
The doctor said that in the bathroom, like money laundering. I think he said big oil too. Like I think he was like trying to explain.
Because I'm pretty sure it takes place like where they're out of is like Arizona. It looks a lot like Arizona because they're close to the Mexican border, but the setting or the backdrop for where they're at reminds me a lot of Arizona.
Yeah, they said something about union busting too.
Yeah,
so like I think he
was trying to just give the air that this is not a good guy.
Yeah, I mean that's literally what the line is a shady man is what the log line says.
Definitely a shady man.
Shady at the least.
The one of the only things that bothered me a little bit about this movie was the pregnant woman, her motivation. Like, I know that she was scared, so, like, she definitely did some things that didn't make sense. Like, when she was going to be safe, and she was like, wait, opportunity to run, I'm going to run.
Yeah.
So, like, I know that there was a lot of that. So, it's like, if she's back and forth with herself of, oh, this is my baby, do I want to give it up? Like, I don't know. But, like, some of the time, it was like, okay, girl, but, like, you want to be alive with the baby, right? So maybe standing in the middle of the gunfight when there is a car to get in. You know what I mean?
It is very funny that, like, he's like, just go upstairs to the roof and wait for me. Do not go to the doctor's office.
I think the second that
immediately goes to the doctor's. I mean, it's funny you think about it. If she just listened to him, the whole movie
none of it would have happened.
Yeah. The whole movie doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that plays into the part of she's
not sure.
Wanted to go back to the doctor because it is his baby. Maybe she felt safer if she went back with the doctor, and then.
But she saw her chance to run.
Yeah.
Even though it was with literal kidnappers, and she was like, But what if I open this door instead? What if I open this door to the gunfight instead of being safe?
Yeah, the fact that she ran outside was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Or like when the police came and she didn't like go with them. Like she could have went over and like kind of hung out with them, but then like when other people showed up, she was like,
Well, get a little out of hand because like the cops are trying to figure out what's happening. Next thing you know, here comes this car pull up, and these two bodyguards just jump out, and the one starts speaking Spanish, tries to bribe them, and pulls out a wad of cash, and is like telling them it's okay, it's okay, just get out of here.
Yeah.
That's another great scene I love about this movie is when that kind of ends. Like Taye Diggs ends up getting the baby and getting the doctor, and they take off in the car. And then he left his bodyguard partner behind, Nicky Cat. He left him on the ground. He thought he was dead.
He thought he was dead.
And then here comes Benicio del Toro and Ryan Phillippe drive up.
Picking his ass
They
up.
just get out of the van and drag him into the van, and everybody's outside of the bar, and they're just looking like, yeah, we want no parts of this.
They all turn away.
They just all turn away and like, yeah, you can take them.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, and now we've come to the review segment of our show. And just a reminder to everyone, everyone on the show today is going to give their overall rating for the movie on a scale of 1 to 5. Then we're going to average out those ratings for the show's overall review. And if you want to see more of our ratings, make sure to follow the link in the description below for our show's official Letterboxd page at CinemaCrunchPod. So I will go first. I really like this movie overall. It's kind of the theme of, I had low expectations going into it. But then as I'm watching and it's unfolding, I'm like really getting into it. And one like kind of gauge for me, if I like a movie, is do I want to make something like this? Is this inspiring me to want to do something similar? And it totally did, right? I'm not very much, I love action movies, but I'm not very much I want to make an action movie kind of guy. And watching this was like, oh, they did it so right in such a smart way that I would love to write something like this. So for me, it's definitely going to sit right around a 3.5. Loved it, would enjoy it. Definitely going to watch it again, like you said, Pat, to try and get more out of it on that second watch. But what'd you think, Pat?
This film holds a special place in my heart, so I'm going to have to give it a rating of 4. But like you said, like I feel the same way. Like when I watch this movie, it makes me like I would love to make a movie like this. The way they did it right. Mm-hmm. They did good action. They had great dialogue. They had, it did get a little convoluted with some of the twists and turns, but it still kept me in it. I never found myself getting bogged down by the twists and the turns and the double crosses. I still was intrigued by everything going on. So, yeah.
100%. Awesome. Chloe?
I did really enjoy this movie. Didn't think I was going to, but I thought it was a lot smarter than what I thought it was going to be. I normally rate my movies on like if I have to be paying attention or if I can like kind of put it on in the background, and I would like to actually be paying attention to this movie when I'm watching it. So I would probably give it a 3.5.
Awesome. Great. Well, that is going to give the average rating for the show a 3.6. We're going to bump that right up to a 4.0.
It deserves it.
Yeah, really, really great movie. Great recommendation, Pat. Would love to watch this again. Maybe we'll watch it all together. So definitely say this movie has made the cut. Thanks, everyone, for being on the show today. And thank you for listening to Cinema Crunch Reviews. Don't forget to follow us on social media by searching at Cinema Crunch Pod or following the link in the description below. We'll see you next time on Cinema Crunch Reviews.